Brown.
Brownie.
Now,
Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job.
it's a heck of a show with Michael Brown.
You're on the radio.
On KOA News Radio.
Hey, welcome to the program. Glad to have you with me. We are set to roll for another hour this evening. And just as I said on a YouTube and Facebook video we posted up today, starting December 3rd, Monday, we will go full bore for 4 hours. And then you get to have some real fun, because then we'll get some really good talk show radio going. But I think this is pretty good just as it is right now, too. You've probably heard the story because I've talked about this story before, but for those of you who are now listening to me in Lord knows where, on the blowtorch of 850 KOA News Radio. By the way, while I'm talking about KOA News Radio, if you would do me a favor and go over to the KOANewsRadio.com website, KOANewsRadio.com, and if you pull down the Michael Brown show page over there in the corner where it says on air, you'll see different names. My name is Michael Brown. You pull down the little tab, you click on my name, and a web page comes up that is all moi. And then you'll see the icons for social media: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you would take all of those and follow me on all of those, we are paying, what are we paying now, Angie? Are we paying $1 million per listener, or are we down to I think we're down to 900 grand or something, aren't we?
Yeah, it's 900 now. 900.
So we're paying 900 grand for every like and subscription on YouTube and like on Instagram and stuff. So, I mean, we have expenses. So costs have gone up and prices have gone down. China, or as the president likes to say, China. You've heard about their plan to judge everybody based on their social behavior. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. I'm not going to say anything about what I know about what you do. I'm not going to try to surmise anything about, what you do. I know some of you right now are scratching where. Some of you guys are scratching up front. Some of you guys are scratching in the back. And all the women are going, oh, gross. But imagine that your ability to buy an airline ticket. Imagine your ability to buy a train ticket. Imagine your ability to get a driver's license, to buy a car, to get a loan, any number of things is based upon your social score. China wants to judge each of its 1.3 billion people based on their social behavior, and that is moving a step closer to reality, with Beijing about to adopt a lifelong points program. It's like King Soopers, except for Chinamen. You get your King Soopers rewards, you get your fuel points. Those of you listening somewhere else, we have a grocery store chain in Colorado called King Soopers. And, of course, you get a loyalty card. So, and I love loyalty cards because when people do loyalty cards, they think what they're getting is they're getting discounts. And you're getting a discount. But you know what else you're getting? The release of all your data about everything you ever bought in the grocery store. So if your wife sends you in to buy tampons, you're shown as having bought tampons. If you go into the grocery store to buy condoms, or you go into the grocery store to buy kumquats, whatever you happen to buy, King Soopers keeps a record of that. And so they know everything that you buy. But you think, well, not all of you, just those of you who are asleep at the switch, think that, oh, but I get fuel points, so I get 10 cents a gallon off when I go to the King Soopers gas station. Or I get a nickel off every third cantaloupe I buy. And you're thinking, woohoo, great. Except that now King Soopers is able to, one, track everything you sell so they can target ads to you. So when you get the little flyer in the mail, you think those are just random discounts you're getting? Nope, those are targeted straight to you. This is even worse, though, in China. They're starting a lifelong points program so that by 2021, this program will assign personalized ratings for every individual. They'll have blacklist systems so that if you're deemed unworthy, you won't even be able to take a single step according to the government's plan. Now, China's been experimenting with this for a long time, but now they've decided that they're going to take it full bore. They're going to go all the way in. This represents probably the most ambitious and intrusive program that I've ever seen in my lifetime. We think that Facebook and Twitter and social media, we think that the loyalty cards, whether it's a gas loyalty card or a grocery store or it's your United Airlines Mileage Plus program, whatever it is, we all do those things because we want discounts and benefits. And so we're willing to do a trade-off. Okay, we'll let you know where I fly, whether I fly in the rear end of the plane or in the front of the plane, how much I pay for the ticket, when I bought the ticket. I'll give you all of that data in exchange for some free upgrades, or ostensibly, United, I'm looking at you, to book some award travel so Tamara and I can go to Vienna next spring, but you send me an email saying, oh, look, there's a sale, 50% off. Except when you go to look, they're not there. So I get that Americans are accustomed to doing this. But would you be willing to do it, not at your choice, but imposed by the government, so that every single thing you ever do, I won't tell you the entire story yet, but let's just say that I had a little run-in today with a park ranger. Had Greta the Leonberger in a ballpark throwing a ball off the leash. I saw her drive up. I put Greta back on the leash, walked back over to the basketball court, bounced the ball, and let her chase the ball with the leash on. But I got a warning. Yeah. You see, in China, that would be a mark against me. And I would be shown to be a troublemaker, which I am, which is why I'm not moving to China. Because if I can't be a troublemaker, what good's life if you can't be a troublemaker? If you can't be an a-hole, if you can't just push the envelope, then what good is life? The whole China system is designed to do this. It's designed to control what you can and cannot do, and it's designed to change your behavior. You know, speaking of Greta the Leonberger, we took her through 2 different classes. We took her through the puppy class, and we took her through the basic 1 training because we wanted to modify her behavior. We wanted her to learn that when Tamara said, park it, that meant go lay on your bed. Or that when I say sit and stay, much like Tamara says to me, I sit and I stay until I get the release word. Tamara never gives me the release word, so I just sit and stay all day long. Imagine the government doing that. Except that when they roll this credit system out, they will reward pro-social behavior like volunteer work or donating blood, and they'll punish those who violate traffic laws. By the end of May, people with bad credit in China will be blocked from booking more than 11 million flights and 4 million high-speed train trips. Because you have bad credit? Because you have bad credit, you can't go see grandma at Christmas? That's what they want to do. So every time, those of you who have listened to me over the course of my 10-plus years in radio know that I am a mostly libertarian, mostly conservative, right-of-center guy. And I believe in individual liberty. That's what has made America great. Individual liberty. Each of us making our own choices based on our own self-interest, and that's what makes the world go round. That's what gives us all of the nice things that we have. China wants to take that away. Not only so that you don't have individual liberty, so that if you're a goober like me and you push the envelope and sometimes you speed, or sometimes you park in a no parking zone, or sometimes you take the freight elevator instead of the passenger elevator, or, you know, any number of things, because there will be cameras everywhere, because you'll have a barcode. Every single move that you make will be followed, tracked, and cataloged, and that will determine whether or not you can buy a plane ticket or a train ticket. Count me out. Now, you may know that I grew up in Oklahoma. It seems to me that this is an example of somebody who, if they did this in China, wouldn't be able to buy a plane ticket.
There's a man running naked going west on Bethel Road.
A man running naked going west on Bethel Road. Wonder what his social score is going to be.
Bizarre 911 call made around 6 in the morning.
He's hollering, help, there's been an accident.
Police were called to a neighborhood near Lake Thunderbird.
Found a gentleman who was naked, kind of in...
Naked? You don't say naked in Oklahoma, you say naked. You're naked.
The bushes out by Lake Thunderbird, who claimed he was kidnapped from Moore and dropped off there.
Wrap up in there. Body cam footage shows officers wrapping the man in an emergency blanket while hearing the tale for the first time.
You don't have any shoes on either, do you?
We'll take everything off.
According to the police report, he went to the strip club Deja Vu around 3 that morning. An hour later, he met up with one of the dancers at a 24-hour restaurant. And it was there that they say they met these two men, William Trites and Philip Tullis, who had a Jeep the victim liked.
I struck up a conversation that led them into more, where that person said that he had some Jeep tops that he had for sale.
You know, I'm always thinking to myself, if I ever want to buy a Jeep, I'm going to go to a strip joint first. Find me a stripper and say, hey, babe, want to come with me to buy a Jeep? And then I'm going to meet two dirtbags in a parking lot and get beat up and have to run down I-25 naked.
All four went to a storage facility where Tullis and Trites allegedly told the two victims they needed to pat them down for safety. Once inside...
That's the other thing. Yeah, you want to buy my Jeep? That's fine. I need to pat you down first. And by the way, we'd like to pat down the stripper you're with, too. And people tell me that Oklahoma's backwards. How can Oklahoma be backwards? You got two boys trying to sell a Jeep, patting a guy down. I don't know, maybe they swing that way. I don't know. Not there's anything wrong with that. And maybe they want the stripper, too. They're patting them both down.
The victims told police they were ordered to snort cocaine.
Officer, I did not want to snort the coke. But those two guys that were selling me the Jeep forced me to snort a line. Yep. They made the stripper do it, too. And we didn't even get the Jeep.
Then the suspects allegedly demanded money from the male victim before driving him to a remote street and dropping him off naked. That's when neighbors spotted him and called the police.
He was going, help, there's been an accident. And I wasn't about to go out there.
The dancer corroborated his story.
As crazy as it sounded at first, it actually did happen pretty close to the way that they said.
But police want to make it clear kidnappers are not out on the streets snatching people up in the middle of the night.
There was, a few crimes committed. But a lot of horrible decisions led up to him eventually being found naked in Norman.
Wait a minute. That's the statement of the year. A lot of bad decisions led to him being found naked on a street in Moore, Oklahoma. Oklahoma needs to adopt the social score system. Because then this old boy would be getting how many negative points do you think he has for that? You've admitted to the cops that you were forced, you tell the cops that you were forced to snort cocaine. You've been in a strip club. You go out with the stripper. You go find some guys that want to sell a Jeep. They pat you down. I guess that's what they say in Oklahoma when they. So they pat you down. And the next thing you know, you're running naked down a street getting caught by the cops. The final version of China's national social credit system is, to be completely objective, still somewhat uncertain. But is rules forcing social networks and internet providers to remove anonymity get more and more enforced in China? And as facial recognition systems become more popular with all the policing bodies in China, authorities in China are likely to find everybody from internet dissenters, thank you, Google, to train fare skippers easier to catch and punish than ever before. Here's the way to think about it. In this country, those on the left who are always upset about, somebody says something offensive, or for that matter, I know people on the right who get ticked off when somebody on the left says something offensive. When you get offended, of course, that you're choosing to be offended. You don't have to be offended. If I was offended every time somebody said something, pejoratively toward me, I would be in a perpetual state of offensiveness. Now, some people say I'm in a perpetual state of offensiveness. Anyway, I would be in a perpetual state of being offended, might be the better, more articulate way to put it. Imagine, though, a system like this in the United States. Imagine a system where every single thing you do ends up being recorded by the government. You get +1 points for this, you get -5 points for this, and at the end of every day, do you have a net positive or a net negative? And if you end up with a net negative, and you decide, you know what, it's Christmas time, and I want to go to Shanghai, and I'm going to buy a train ticket. Nope, can't do that. Or you decide you want to buy a car, because what does China need? More cars. Or you want to buy an iPhone, or you want to buy a Huawei phone, whatever those phones are that they make in China. You want to do that. And suddenly you find that you can't. And the reason that you can't is because you ran a red light last week. And that cost you 25 demerits. Or you were caught jaywalking, and that cost you 2 demerits. Every single thing that you do gets cataloged, gets put on your record, and that determines what you get to do or not do. Speaking of China, Christians in China, you think it's bad for just regular Chinese? Imagine being a Christian.
China is in the throes of a Christian revival, and tonight we're looking at how that's playing out. As a rule, the communist government discourages spiritual devotion, or at least tries to control it. It has long been illegal to teach a child about religion.
Illegal to teach a child about religion. I'm trying to paint a picture for you about what tyranny is like. Tyranny is like that fog that comes in on little cats' feet. It just kind of slips in because, we dislike this and there ought to be a law, or we dislike that and there ought to be a law. And so some do-gooder in some state legislature or the Congress somewhere decides, you're right. By golly, there ought to be a law. And so they pass a law. And the next thing you know, you're forbidden from teaching your child about religion.
Now, with a surge in Christian faith, a crackdown is in full swing, and it's driving the faithful underground. Our Asia correspondent, Sasha Petrusik, shows us that for some Christians, simply going to a church means risking a confrontation.
In a residential corner of Beijing, down a leafy side street, the Chinese officials are waiting for us at the apartment gate. No foreigner, no camera, he says. Closed. That is until our host, Pastor Shu Yonghai, comes out. After arguing with officials, he invites us up to his small third-story flat. The political pressure on us is growing, he says. See the trouble you had? Our people get stopped all the time. Once a week, Shu's parishioners meet around the dining room table in this so-called house church, or perhaps elsewhere if police intervene.
We don't realize just how fortunate we are. But it can slip away. It can slip away very easily. So the next time that you're upset about something, And your reaction is, the legislature ought to make a law stopping this, or Congress ought to make a law doing this or doing that. Be careful what you ask for, because the ability to lose our liberty comes with those who always turn to the government and say, hey, do something about X. Why don't you just ignore X? Don't get so wrapped around the axle about X. Learn to let it go.
Hi, April and Marty here, and we need your help, Colorado.
Now through Christmas Eve, help a child by dropping off a new toy or cash donation at any participating King Soopers location.
It's the Together for Colorado Toy Drive, benefiting the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Denver with CBS 4 and KOA News Radio.
I've bought more guns at one place than any other place in my life, and that's up in Boulder at a place on 14th and Arapahoe. Gunsport is our kind of store. Now, if you're looking for quality firearms and knives, go to Gunsport. They've got a large selection of ammo, scopes, holsters, books, and Gunsport buys, sells, trades, and they take consignment. And here's the other thing you need to know about Gunsport right now. Big sale. 10% off everything in the store. Rare ammo, collector's guns, you name it, they've got it or they can get it. Those firearms, those knives, the ammo, the scopes, the holsters, the books, everything 10% off. So I want you to drive up to Boulder and see for yourself why I've spent more money at Gunsport than any other single place my entire life. It's at 14th and Arapahoe up in Boulder. Now, you can't miss it because once you turn on 14th and Arapahoe and you see that old building, you're going to go, aha, I remember this place. And then you'll walk inside and you'll know why I love this place. 14th and Arapahoe or online, gunsport.us.
What would it take for you to get a tattoo you didn't want?
And I would like to invite you to join my family and me in our 3rd annual Holidays with the Harrises to benefit my foundation, the Chris Harris Jr. Foundation. It will be at Seasons 52 at Park Meadows, Monday, December 10th, from 6 to 8:30 p.m. There will be cocktails, wonderful mile-high cuisine. My teammates will be there, and the silent and live auctions will go down. Go to chrisharrisjr.com for more information and tickets. We hope to see you there.
What would it take for you to get a tattoo you didn't want? $1 million? How about 1 million socks? I'm Randy from Bombas. When me and my business partner Dave,
how's it going?
Quit our jobs to start a sock company,
Bombas,
we wanted to make the best socks in the history of feet. No more annoying seam, no more falling down your leg, added arch support.
You get the idea.
And what's better than creating the best socks in the history of feet?
Sharing them.
This is what we do. 1 pair purchased equals 1 pair donated to those in need. Our dream was always to donate 1 million pairs. We thought it would take 10 years. That's why Dave said,
when we donate 1 million pairs of socks, I'll get a tattoo to celebrate.
But then something happened. People loved our socks, and instead of 10 years, it only took 2.5. 1 million pairs.
And 1 Bombas tattoo on my arm.
Feel the most comfortable socks in the history of feet by going to bombas.com/KOA and get 20% off your first order. That's BOMBAS.com/KOA.
100 years ago, most businesses had their names on the building. Today, not so much. O'Mara has grown and expanded. We're now O'Mara Ford, O'Mara Volkswagen, and O'Mara Buick GMC. After 105 years, we're still going strong. Satisfying customers, one customer at a time. We love cars, and we love what we do. Visit one of our 3 locations, all on 104th and I-25. Serving Colorado for over 100 years. OmaraMotors.com.
Hi, it's April. Are you embarrassed to smile because of missing teeth? Clear Choice Dental Implant Center offers dental implants, which are artificial tooth roots that connect to your jawbone, providing a permanent base for secure and comfortable tooth replacement. Clear Choice has helped so many people across the Rocky Mountain region who've struggled with the effects of missing teeth or dentures. The doctors and clinical staff at Clear Choice Denver understand that dental issues can impact really every facet of your life, well beyond just the look of your smile or the ability to chew your food. In fact, fact, many patients have found that dental implants help them regain a beautiful smile and also their health, confidence, and increased self-esteem. Ask the team at Clear Choice Denver about how you can benefit from this life-changing transformation. For more information, visit clearchoice.com or call 888-234-7568 to schedule a free, no-obligation consultation. That's clearchoice.com or call 888-234-7568. Get back out there with dental implants from Clear Choice Dental Implant Center.
KOA News Radio,
an iHeart radio station.
KOA News Radio, time 7:30. You may have seen it, a fire at a recycling plant in northwest Denver, filling the sky with black smoke that could be seen for miles. Denver Fire Captain Greg Pixley.
For the very reason that they go through the process of removing different parts of materials that has value that they can use in later processing.
No one was hurt in that fire. President Trump tweeting he's disappointed with GM and its CEO for announcing several plant closures and job cuts. The president says he's now looking at cutting subsidies, including for electric cars. Before the president's tweet, National Economic Council Director Larry Kudlow made reference to those subsidies.
We are going to be looking at certain subsidies regarding electric cars and others, whether they should apply or not.
Kudlow says it's disappointing GM might build its electric cars in China rather than the U.S. Quincy Jones' hands and footprints now set in stone in Hollywood. The 85-year-old music icon dipping his hands and feet in cement today outside the TCL Chinese Theater. The practice of cement impressions began in the 1920s when the movie house was known as Grauman's Chinese Theater. Hundreds of mostly entertainment industry A-listers have gotten the cement treatment throughout the decades. Sports, LeBron James and the Lakers at Pepsi Center tonight taking on the Nuggets, and the Avs skating at Nashville. Our next update at 8 o'clock. David Kale, KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
Well, the good news is that crash has been cleared northbound I-25 approaching 6th Avenue. And traffic is flowing smoothly through the area. We do have a report of some animals on the highway, southbound I-25, a little bit south of I-76, causing some delays in the area there. And some construction is slowing you down eastbound I-70 from I-225 over to Pena Boulevard and then north to Green Valley Ranch. CBS 4 weather, partly cloudy overnight. Look for a low temp down around 40. Tomorrow, Wednesday, partly cloudy and warmer. Nice with a high near 61. In Denver right now, 51 degrees. This report is sponsored by Maximus Smart Security Lights at Costco. Replace your porch light with Maximus Smart Lights with camera and motion sensor. Get smartphone notifications when someone is at your door. Maximus is easy to install and keeps your family safe. Get Maximus porch lights and floodlights at Costco and Home Depot. Bill Jones, KOA News Radio, Colorado's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hurricanes Michael and Florence did a number on some big resort communities on the East Coast. If your timeshare is in an area prone to natural disasters, you could be liable for a portion of the cleanup and the repair. Folks, this is why I tell you timeshares are a horrible idea. If you're tired of fees, call Timeshare Exit Team, the only company I trust. They'll get you out or give you a full refund. Call 844-999-EXIT, timeshareexitteam.com.
You know, sometimes in this business, you meet with a potential sponsor and you immediately connect, knowing that this is somebody that if I needed their services, this is exactly who I would turn to. Well, I met one of those people recently, personal injury attorney Mark Simon. Mark personifies my view of what a great lawyer should be. Mark Simon is compassionate, caring, hardworking, and he's tenacious. And I know you and I are bombarded with attorney ads on radio and television. So let me tell you why you should hire Mark Simon. Because I would. Mark's deep conviction about caring for his clients, I think, stems from his background as a registered nurse. My respect for him stems from his experience. Mark only takes cases that are legitimate, where people have been denied just compensation for their injuries, and Mark does the work himself. And as a lawyer, that means a lot to me. So if you, a friend or a family member, have been hurt in an accident at work or anywhere, call the personal injury lawyer I would call Mark Simon. 303-321-HURT. 303-321-HURT. Or online, coloradolawyer.net. That's coloradolawyer.net.
Hear that? It's opportunity knocking on your home's old front door and your old windows and siding. Because right now is your chance to save thousands on new Champion windows and home exterior upgrades. Announcing the Champion Your Home Sale with 30% off new Champion Comfort 365 windows, 25% off new siding and sunrooms. Plus, get 60 months low interest financing. Hi, this is Dave Logan. Champion is the only window company that I personally endorse. Book your free appointment today online at getchampion.com. They design, build, install, and guarantee their home improvement products. So all you have to do is enjoy them. 30% off new Comfort 365 windows and 25% off new siding and new sunrooms. It's the Champion Your Home Sale. Book your appointment online at getchampion.com. That's getchampion.com.
The Champion Limited Lifetime Warranty applies to Comfort 365 windows as long as the original purchaser owns the home. Subject to qualifying credit approval. Minimum purchase required. All discounts apply to our regular prices. Cannot be combined with other advertisers' offers. See store website for details.
Here we go. Time for the festive feel. Time for iHeart Christmas Radio and North Pole Radio. iHeart Christmas Radio has you covered with 100% Christmas favorites, commercial free. And North Pole Radio is a fun musical sleigh ride hosted by Santa himself.
That's right.
So as we dive into the holidays, make sure you keep iHeart Radio as your feel-good soundtrack. Your music, your stations and podcasts, anytime, anywhere. Connect with Michael Brown. Find him on social media through KOANewsRadio.com.
Hey, welcome back to Heck of a Show with Michael Brown. I'm always interested where people are listening to the program. So if you do me a favor, as we start to build this show, and by the way, starting Monday, December 3rd, we go to full 4 hours, 7 to 11 p.m. So set your clocks. Set your alarm clock. I'm curious to find out where we're heard, where people are listening. So if you have an opportunity, I'd like for you to do one of two or three things. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, I'd like to know where it is you're watching us. I mean, I don't care if it's your bedroom or your living room. I care about what city and state you're listening to us in or watching us on YouTube. And the same is true for Facebook. If you're watching us on Facebook, in the comments section, tell us where you are, whether you're in Colorado or surrounding state, or you're listening on the iHeart app somewhere, and you're listening to us in, I don't know, Great Britain, let us know. Or send me an email, michaelbrown@koanewsradio.com, and let us know where you're listening. We like to take an inventory. We want to check on you. We want to know where you are. We want to be able to track your social activities. Let's talk about this migrant caravan for a minute. You know, most of the Central Americans that are pouring into Tijuana are actually fleeing horrifying levels of poverty and gang violence in their home countries. I get that. You know, when the President of the United States referred to S-hole countries, he was right. There are a lot of S-hole countries around the world. I've been in lots and lots of them, and you may have too. And if I lived in one of those S-hole countries, I would be doing everything I could to get out. A lot of these migrants say that they are fleeing direct threats to their life and that they can't go back, whether they gain entry into the United States or not. But here's the problem. Very few of these people are going to qualify for asylum under U.S. law. Let's look at the data. For 2016, out of 63,733 defensive asylum claims filed, those are claims that are heard by an immigration judge, as opposed to an affirmative claim for an asylum that is heard in a non-courtroom setting. Out of those 63,700 defensive asylum claims, how many do you think were granted? Only 8,726. less than 14%. Now, most of these Central Americans that are coming to the border know that they have almost no chance of getting in based on asylum. For them, asylum is simply the way to gain entry to the United States, where they can then live and work while their cases wind through immigration court, and thus the problem. That is a process that can easily take years. What happens if someone presents themselves at a port of entry claiming asylum because they're afraid to go home? If the border agents are doing their job correctly, they'll turn them down, turn them around, and send them back. But for those who present even a somewhat valid claim for asylum, that then goes into a defensive asylum claim, which then has to be adjudicated, decided by an immigration judge. So then they're let in, and they're handed basically a summons that says you need to appear in court. Let's just say that it's today, Tuesday, November 27th. They get a summons that says appear on Tuesday, November 27, 2021. Now, what do you think they're going to do 3 years from now? Do you think they're going to show up in immigration court? Of course they're not. Claiming asylum is simply a way to gain entry into the United States. Most of them, if they do get past the Border Patrol agents, they're simply going to abscond after being admitted on a pending asylum claim. They'll simply melt into an illegal immigration underground that is estimated at a minimum 12 million people. 12 million people. That absconding, that just disappearing and never showing up for court again, that is what has drawn the president's ire. He has characterized our asylum and immigration system as catch and release, and he has vowed to change it. His description of it as catch and release is spot on. And while catch and release might be an oversimplification, the bottom line is this. The system does indeed allow a large number of illegal immigrants into the country while they wait to appear before an immigration judge, and then they never show up. In an attempt to determine how big of a problem absconding really is, I started looking at asylum data going back to 2013 from the Department of Justice Executive Office of Immigration Review. That's the office that handles all the immigration cases. You can do this work for you, but I'm happy to do the work for you, so you don't have to look it up. I wanted to know the total number of asylum cases decided in absentia that ended with deportation orders relative to the number of asylum claims. In other words, how many migrants apply for asylum but never show up for their hearing? I also wanted to know how many total immigration cases, not just asylum cases, but total immigration cases, ended up with a deportation order issued in absentia. What does that mean? It means that they didn't show up for court, the immigration judge denied the application for asylum or denied the application for a visa, and ordered them deported even though they weren't in the courtroom. They got a deportation order issued in absentia. But here's the problem. The data that I found wasn't conclusive. It didn't distinguish between defensive or affirmative asylum claims, which is important because sometimes an asylum applicant will begin with an affirmative claim, get denied, then file a defensive claim while right in the middle of the deportation proceedings. So federal data really can't tell us how many asylum applicants there are. But here's what the data did show. The number of asylum applications decided in absentia with deportation orders has skyrocketed. In 2014, a mere 4 years ago, there were only 1,700 of those kinds of cases. In 2017, just last year, it jumped from 1,700 cases to 4,500 cases. And for just the first 3 months of this year, we're already at 3,259, meaning that if the trend line stayed the same, we would have gone from 1,700 in 2014 to 4,500 in 2017 and potentially 12,000 in 2018. Likewise, the number of in absentia deportation orders for all immigration cases almost doubled between 2014 and 2017. And as of March of this year, was on track to more than double 2017's total. So when we talk about the migrant caravans, we can squabble over whether or not it's an invasion. It's an invasion only when they start trying to cross illegally, which is what we saw this week, which is what we saw over the weekend, which is why we saw the tear gas, which is why we saw the border shut down. Now, for those of you who've listened to me before, you know that under the Constitution, immigration law is a federal. There are certain enumerated powers of the federal government. And immigration is one of those enumerated powers, meaning that the Founding Fathers said that immigration is of such of a national importance that we're going to give the federal government power over immigration laws. And then starting with the Immigration Act of 1939 and subsequent acts, Congress has given the executive branch, the president, wide latitude in enforcing immigration laws. He can take virtually any action that he deems appropriate to protect the national security, to enforce the immigration laws, and to make certain that the immigration laws that we have are followed and that people just don't willy-nilly abuse it, which gives him the authority through Customs and Border Patrol to do what they did in Tijuana, or actually in San Ysidro, south of San Diego. And that was shut down that border, which I think it was the appropriate thing to do. The caravan became an invasion when they started scaling the wall, cutting through the concertina wire, trying to get through, trying to bust through, throwing rocks and sticks and stones and everything else at CBP agents. That's when it became an invasion. No other country in the world, with maybe the exception of France and Germany, and to some degree the United Kingdom, would allow that to occur in their country. It's fascinating to me because the more this goes on, the more we realize that, you know what? It is out of control. You want proof of that? I could play you a soundbite from, any number of conservative people that would point out that immigration is a problem and that we need to get control of it. But rather than take the easy way out, let me take the hard way out. Listen to Hillary Clinton. Yeah, she's not conservative. She's not right of center. Listen to what Hillary Clinton has to say about the European migrant flows. Listen to what she has to say about all of the people flowing into Europe from the Middle East.
Hillary Clinton has called on European leaders to curb mass migration to the continent. She says it's helped spread right-wing populism. In an interview in the British newspaper The Guardian.
Now, before they go on to tell you what she said, I don't care whether she thinks that the spread of migrants into Europe is helping fuel right-wing nationalism. All I care about is, her point is, you've got to stop the flow of illegal aliens.
Guardian published today, the former Democratic presidential candidate and Secretary of State warned, if we don't deal with the migration issue, it will continue to roil the body politic. She said it lit the flame for racist political ideologies in Europe.
Now, forget whether that really did that or not. You see what she's saying? She's trying to admit that you have to stem the flow of illegal immigration. Now, her reasons are because, well, it stirs people up. It stirs the citizens of European nations. It makes them mad. And she gets upset when citizens get mad. I don't care why. I just care that she wants to stop it.
Clinton's comments sparked outrage and confusion from immigration activists and European lawmakers who cited her long track record of welcoming immigrants.
But I could also go back and play sound bites from her husband, and for that matter from Chuck Schumer and Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi and a whole host of other people on the left who 20 years ago said that illegal immigration had to be stopped. If we really care, if we truly care about the rule of law, if we truly care about this country preserving the individual liberty that all of us enjoy, we'll recognize that something does have to be done. We'll recognize that indeed allowing unfettered immigration into this country means that you will have people that will never assimilate. You will have people that, even in a booming economy, will still take jobs away from other naturalized or natural-born U.S. citizens. And beyond that, it says to the entire world, which has always boggled my mind, you live in an S-hole country. If you can just figure out a way, I know you can't take a bus from Yemen to New York or El Paso or San Diego or Minot, North Dakota. But if you could just find a way to get from Yemen or any other S-hole country and just walk across the border, we would have to be ready to take on 1 billion people. Think about the billions in China that are getting the really low social scores, who are looking for a way out, who are looking for a beacon of freedom, where they want to be able to, there's still consequences for jaywalking, just as there are consequences for me letting Greta the Leonberger off the leash. I get a warning. Next time, chop your hand off. But the bottom line is, we still get to make those choices. We still get to make the choice. We understand that there are rules and laws that we have to obey. But we recognize that by the social compact that we have entered into by being citizens of this country, that generally we will obey those laws. I know we're not all going to obey the speed limit. There are probably some of you right now, look down at your speedometer. Yeah, we're talking about you. I always like when I go off on this kind of tangent about we have laws, and these laws we all are supposed to follow, but we all know that we live in a country where we're not going to get thrown in the gulag if we drive 85 in a 75. We know that we're not going to get thrown in the gulag if we let the dog off the leash in the park. That's what separates us from places like China or Yemen or Russia or Venezuela or any other country where people live in utter tyranny. Tomorrow, or the rest of the night and tomorrow, I just want you to think about this. We agree, whether we're born here or we come here legally, we agree that there's a social compact between us and those that we elect to represent us on city councils, county commissioners, the U.S. Congress, the U.S. Senate, wherever it might be, that they'll establish reasonable rules and regulations, and that you and I will, for the most part, follow those rules and regulations, and that when we violate them for minor things, I'm not talking about murder, rape, or, cocaine trafficking or human trafficking. I'm talking about speed limits. I'm talking about leash laws. I'm talking about the things that every single one of us, at one time or another, as law-abiding as you think you are, have violated. We know there are consequences. We'll pay the consequences. But in exchange for that, we get to live in liberty. We get to live in individual liberty. Those coming from these other countries that don't want to do it the right way prove that they cannot live in a country of laws by breaking the law.
That's pretty much all I got.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has left the building.
Okay, the Democrats control the House, the Republicans control the Senate. Will anything get done in Washington? I'm counting on KOA to let me know.
Whether it's conflict or compromise, we'll keep you posted.